Hello, Revere, and welcome to another great Revere Veterans and Community Show. Today I have real veterans, a veteran police officer of 22 years, Officer Gerard Salvatti.
Yes.
Welcome. And of course, a military and a community veteran, Ira Novoselsky, Councillor of Ward 2. We're going to be talking about Crime Watch today, so we're going to start with you, Jerry. You started the Crime Watch with the children long before we got into a neighborhood, so...
Yes, well, thank you for having me, Morris, and thank you, Councillor Novoselsky. I've been doing this, I've been on the job for 22 years, and started off with the kids, started off doing all those safety programs, Morris, from going into the actual classrooms and teaching them about stranger danger, bicycle safety, pedestrian safety. Now we're getting into more stuff into internet safety. So it just gets more and more as we go in time. But now, as my job the last 3 years, became the crime prevention community policing officer. And it's been working wonders. We have an office on Broadway and Pleasant Street. Was opened up 3 years ago. And it's a great place where people can come in, because the old station is gone. They can come in there and, with their problems, their questions, answers. It's a great place to have it because it deters crime in that area because they know the police are there in and out. But we've been going on and on with the Crime Watch. I think it's the best thing for the city, and having people on board like Councillor Novoselsky is tremendous. I mean, what he does for Shirley Ave and for all the citizens of the city is impeccable. He and I talk all the time, how can we do things to improve the area, how we can solve problems in the area. And this is how it all goes. I mean, Ira and I just had a meeting that Ira put together for the Ward 2 last week. We had the chief of police there, myself, Lieutenant Goodwin, Lieutenant O'Hara, a couple of retired officers, Cal Bajoli, Lieutenant Michelle. We went over what we were doing. Actually, Ira just told me earlier that we have another meeting coming up. It's a follow-up meeting. So it's building, and it's getting more and more, and it's a great thing for the city. And having elected officials like Ira involved, and we have many of the councils that are involved also, it's just better for the city.
Right. Before I get to you, Councillor, I just want to ask you one question. Bicycles. Mm-hmm. The people that ride the bicycles, do they have to obey the same law as the motor vehicle driver?
Yes, they do, and they know that. They have to use hand signals, stop at stop signs. They have to be in particular areas that they have to obey on. Absolutely. It's just, if they're riding on a bike, they have to obey that.
And the reason I asked you that question, because when I came out of the Stop and Shop parking lot about a month ago,
right,
I was stopped by the red light as you come into the highway, mm-hmm. and I heard a bang right on the front of my car, and I was a guy with a bicycle, but I had the green light, so I wasn't wrong. He was.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I will mention we had a pretty large group there at the meeting, and we got a lot of good. So this Crime Watch, Morris, we feed off the people too. We build a trust with the community, like the council Ira does here, and what they do is they tell us what the problems are in their area, and what we do is every area is different. Like Shirley Ave has their particular problems. You go like the Pines, they'll have their problems. The West Side, Sergeant Street, and all those. Every area has their own little different problems. And Ira is talking to the chief, our chief, my boss,
Chief Caffarelli?
Chief Caffarelli, about they put another substation down in Shirley Ave. And if that can go through, I think it'll be unbelievable, because that's where we first had when I first came on, back in the day, Shirley Ave was where we had the office, right, Ira?
That's right.
That was the first one, right? Mm-hmm. And then we had one down in Beachmont, the old library, which was, I wish that was still there, because that was a great spot for that.
Yep, I remember that.
It would be nice if it was still there, but unfortunately it deteriorated, the building. But getting back to that, we can get Shirley Ave and maybe possibly down Beachmont down the line, it'll be fantastic for the citizens.
Right. Councillor Novoselsky, I want to get back to you now, because you started part of the Ward 2 Crime Watch. Is it only for Ward 2, or is it for the whole city?
Well, the whole city has Crime Watch.
Yes.
Right.
In some way, shape, or manner. Every ward has their own little identity.
So every council takes care of their own ward?
Hopefully. I know I tried to get a Crime Watch in Ward 2 last summer when they were pushing Crime Watches, but where crime has gone down almost 15% citywide, 40% in house breaks and
Yes.
and car vandalisms, because those are so high that people weren't concerned about it. But now we had an issue on Campbell Ave. We had a couple of houses have some
Yeah, but it was in the papers.
break-ins.
Yes.
And the people said, "Well, can we have a crime watch?" I said, "Absolutely, you can have a crime watch. It's neighborhood driven. It's not something that I am the boss of. That's something that once we have the big meetings, like we had one before, to kind of let people know what Crime Watch was about, and the next meeting is going to be putting together little street crime watch
That's going to be on
committees.
February the 9th?
February 9th, Tuesday, February 9th, 50 Walnut Ave, at the Hyman Tower. And we're going to teach the people what they have to look for. But we have street captains. In other words, there'll be a person that people can go to. Say, "Oh, I got a problem." Or I have a strange car out in front of my house. Or I see some people hanging around here that don't belong around here, that aren't normal, aren't normally here. So me being, myself having to start the Crime Watch in Ward 2 was an opportunity to get the people together. And as Jerry said, and I'll call him Jerry because it's easier to say Officer Salvatti. And as Jerry said, that people have to handle it themselves. Once they learn what to look for,
Absolutely.
then they can teach their other neighbors what to look for.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's a pyramid thing.
Absolutely.
It's a pyramid thing.
So, Ira, well, you're going to be holding this meeting at the Hyman Towers on February the 9th. So, anybody from the community of Ward 2 that wants to come down is welcome?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Right.
That's correct.
And if they want to contact someone, who would they contact? If they want to get more information.
Well,
can
right
they-
now they can contact me at 781-289-7031. That's my house phone number, or they can email me at Ira, IRA _ Novoselsky, that's NOVOSELSKY, at yahoo.com. And, I'll let them know when this meeting is going on. But we'll send out a blast from my email
Right.
over the weekend, and to let everybody know when, where, and how.
Throughout the whole city.
Well, it'll be just Ward 2.
Ward
Oh, Ward
Just
2.
Ward
But
2.
let me ask you, can you use the reverse calling like they do on the telephone to let the people know? Is that possible?
Anything's possible, but we have to realize every time we use that, it costs money.
Oh, that I did not know.
People don't know that.
So we try to do,
So-
Morris, we try to do it through flyers.
Right.
Like I said, each ward, like the councilor said, we have different people that are involved. We call them block captains. And what they act as, it's all volunteer.
Right.
What they would do is they would send out through Facebook, Twitter, like I said, Gmail, whatever they have, they will notify their people in that area that that there's going to be a meeting coming. There's
Right,
a
but
meeting coming.
you mentioned something that I like, though. If they see something suspicious, especially a car, have them get their plate number, but not to
Morris.
confront the driver.
That's one of the
Mark,
things we're going to talk about.
this
yeah.
is what we teach in these classes. We have different officers come in, like myself. We teach all about prevention, like whether it's involving a motor vehicle, what to look for. Obviously the plate, the color of the car, 2-door, 4-door. If it's a person, give us we need a description.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff we have in these books has that. And as these things are all given out to the block captains, it exactly goes over what we were talking about. And this is what's all in. Everything you see here is through. We get a lot of this is all through grants. We have a grant writer, Kathy Callahan. She does a tremendous job. This stuff is all money, so we try to keep it as a minimal because the department only has so much we can fund for this. But everything that we go through on these classes, we teach the participants how to act if a problem will come across. What we stress is never approach a person, and I can tell you that we don't. If you see something out there, don't go up to that person and question them. Call the police. Let us come.
Can I say something to that?
course.
Usually when I see a suspicious car on my street, I do go up to the person, but not confrontation.
Right.
I go out and I say, "Sir, are you looking for someone? Maybe I could help you." But usually what happens in cases like that, I notice when I walk out and ask them, "Can I help you?" or something like that, if they're suspicious, that car is gone within 2 seconds when I turn my back. But we have already gotten the plate number. Before I approach them, I make sure I get the plate number, so if anything happens, we have a record of their plate number that they were there, because they could.
What I would say, Morris, is don't do what you did.
Right.
You know what I do.
Don't do what you did. Okay, that
I
that's
know-
the
I
wrong,
know.
that's the wrong move.
Right.
You know, it's,
No,
you
no,
know,
no,
I'm
that's
just
good to know.
I'm critiquing you.
Right.
You know, that's not the right
He
move.
could have a gun.
The right move, exactly.
Right.
You never know. They don't want witnesses. You become a witness right away. They don't want that. That's the first thing. If they do have a gun, they'll use it. If they have a knife, they'll use it.
Right.
If they see you leave and go see where you live, they know where you live, you're in trouble.
Right.
Don't do it. 911.
Right. 911. And like I said, Morris.
Excuse me, Jeremy,
Yeah,
but
sure.
if the guy isn't, the gentleman or woman isn't doing anything,
You
and I
don't
call
know that.
911,
You
I'm
don't know
tired.
that.
Morris, like I said, I've been doing this job for many years, and I always encourage every single person I speak to, especially yourself. I know you want to get involved, but we don't want anybody approaching anybody, because, like Ira just said, you don't know who you're dealing with.
Right.
Even for us, we got to be cautious when we walk up to a person. Okay, it's just the way of times have changed. You know, it's not like the old days. Things are different today.
I can give you a good example. Okay.
Please do.
Last week on my street, there was a tow truck towing a car. There was already one car in the back of the truck. It was a flatbed, and he was hooking up the back. Now, I saw him riding around the neighborhood. I didn't know if he was just picking up cars at will and stealing them.
You mean a tow truck?
A tow truck, which they do. Right off the street, they'll come there and steal a car. People think it was towed by the city. So I didn't approach the guy. I went close to the truck. I got on the phone. I called 911. I told the call taker what was going on, and I gave him all the identification on the truck. And I gave him my phone number to call me back in case they needed more information. But I stood near the truck. He was loading it. I didn't say boo to the guy. There's a number on the side of the truck, the company name, and I called the station. They actually called the company to confirm that the truck was being picked up, or the car was being picked up. It was their truck. He called me back and he told me it was a legitimate tow. Thanks for
But what
keeping your
happens
eyes
if
open.
some prankster, a prankster, excuse me, some prankster calls and says, I want my car towed, but and I live where you live, Jerry, and they come and take your car
Yeah.
away. Then are you responsible for all the charges that occur there? Because even though you had nothing to do with it?
You won't be responsible, of course. I mean, I'm just
I
being
don't
a
know
devil's
that.
advocate.
Yeah, I don't know that, but it's
that's-
possible.
it's possible,
Anything's
right.
possible. You know, but I'm just telling you, I did not approach the gentleman. I
Right.
called 911.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say a very, very important thing regarding 911. If you're going to call the police, if you have a cell phone, 911 goes to the state police Framingham main phone number on your cell phone. If you're going to call in Revere, the best thing to do is call 781-284-1212.
Then hit
And then it
0.
goes right to the
Police station.
Revere Police Station through our call center. But realize, too, that it's going to tell you to dial 0 when you get there. Because then it goes to the call. If it's an emergency, you dial 0.
Right,
after
dial
your
0.
1212.
That's the best. When you dial, hit the 0, and it gets you right to the call taker, the
taker.
police officer that's there. That's another thing we stress to the people.
When
so.
it goes to 911 and to state police, it goes to Framingham. Then they have to call Revere and say, hey, Revere, we have a call, and they have to transfer it over to them. So now you're wasting about 10, 15 seconds of potential situation that may be going on. So you want to be able to realize those phone numbers are
Before we went
active.
on the air, I was talking to Officer Salvatti, and I mentioned to you about people coming and knocking on the door, and my wife would not answer the door. But when she would, then the call would come in on the telephone, and she would say, you have to wait till my husband comes home. A lot of widows who have no husbands should do the same thing, I think, because those people never showed up.
Right. And well, I could say to anybody, if someone's knocking your door, you don't know who they are, do not
Don't
open
open
that
it.
door. Even if they have a uniform or something they say from some particular agency.
Federal Express
if
or
you
whatever.
didn't call them, don't open the door. And you can always call us. We can come by and take a look at it. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve the public, to help keep you
And
safe.
a good example of that is recently everybody has had people coming to their door about the electricity, about buying electricity. And your name through National Grid says that you're paying your bill to National Grid, but they're coming in and say, well, you can get it cheaper through us. Okay, those are the type of people that have been coming to, but you make sure you ask for an ID if you do happen to open the door. Ask for an identification, and I've been blowing them off. I don't want to deal with them.
I'm glad you mentioned that. About, I think it was just over a year ago, we had the gas company, they wanted to check the meters, install new meters. They knocked on the door, and it was two gentlemen, not one, but two. And they said, we would like to install a meter. But they didn't have no meter with them. And they didn't have their truck in front of the house. So the first thing I said to them, where's your truck?
Right.
And then I said, where is your ID? Well, they did have the ID. But you can make that anyway.
Well, it's supposed to be out. It's supposed to be out in the front, and it's supposed. You know what I mean?
It was out in the front. I turned it over. I got a name, but I'm sure it was their name. So I says, before I let you in, I'll call the gas company, but I want to see your truck in front of the house. They went away. I never saw them again, and I never saw them truck in front of the house.
Yeah. Well, I noticed they came to my house a couple of weeks ago to change 2 meters.
Right.
And I had made arrangements for them already. It was a pre-appointed appointment.
Oh, they just don't come knock. You make the appointment with them?
You make an appointment with them. So be aware, National Grid does that. It's their habit of doing it, of calling and making an appointment first, and then you know that they're legitimate.
Right.
So anybody comes right to the door and say you want to do your meter, don't let them in.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's something good to know.
Yeah.
Give us some more facts on the crime prevention.
Well, like I says, we from that meeting we got Councilor Novoselsky stated, where they had a problem on Campbell Avenue, and because of the people being involved with that, this is what they call a direct patrol. Okay. Because of the people, actually, we had a meeting at my office prior to the Crime Watch meeting. So I went to the chief on it, and Lieutenant Goodwin, which is in charge of our detectives, and now we have what they call direct patrol. This thing is every officer, including myself, while we're on duty, during each shift, there's 3 shifts obviously around the clock, when you go by this house, you will call off and say you're going to be off at a particular address on a direct patrol, showing that we were there. So we would call off and say we're off at such and such address, and that is great because it's a lot of areas that a lot of these problems we get, Morris, come from the Crime Watch meetings. We get this information from citizens like yourself, and that come to us, what problems, and once we realize it's a problem, then we go to the chief on it, and this is what happens.
Right. If you have a terrific crime watch, let's say on Campbell Avenue, like you just mentioned, that's been in the papers with burglaries, one house and that house next to it. Do the police sometimes put up cameras?
Yes, Lieutenant Goodwin made reference to that at the other meeting, that cameras are obviously essential today. I mean,
Yep, definitely.
And I think he said they could put extra cameras up. They were mentioned.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, but I don't know if they do it on houses, but they
No, not on houses, but let's say let's say there's a burglary at 2 o'clock in the morning. If they had a camera on one side of the street or another side of the street, they could see which vehicles go down the street.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then they have.
Well, we do have a lot of cameras in the city now. So
if you have one camera, let's say at the beginning of the street, one camera at the end of the street. Let's say you get the plate number of this car, and if you don't see him, you see him entering, but you don't see him exiting, and something has gone wrong, and that car does not belong on that street. That might give you a clue that car was doing something in between the time allotted.
I know it's easy to ask and suggest that.
I know that.
Okay, but it costs about $1,000 per camera to put up.
For one camera?
For one camera, and
You
putting
can buy
them up sounds easy. They are electronic and digital, and they transmit. They're not hardwired. So it does go right back to the police station.
That's what we
But
were
getting them put up is very, very difficult. We only have a few in the city, and what they do is when they have an area that's targeted a lot, more than say 3 incidents.
Oh, I see what you're.
That's when they'll put it up, in a particular area to watch it. And then if there's later on, once they solve that or they'll see that it's quieted, they'll move them to another area. But they encourage people. And I know what you were just going to say, and I interrupted you, and I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, go right ahead.
But, about putting cameras up in your houses. They may say, oh, yeah, they only cost $25, $30 a piece. Well, not individually. but you have to buy a package that costs maybe about $200, and you put up 4 or 5 cameras in your house, and you have a main recorder in your house, and it records everything that goes on around your house. And what the police are asking, that when you do this, call Lieutenant Goodwin, and he will make a recommendation of where the cameras would go, or even Jerry.
Absolutely.
They'll but they always want one camera that hits the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily every door in the house or every side of the house, but they like some assistance where it may pick up exactly what you were talking about.
But the
Which
vehicle?
a vehicle
Right.
going by the house, or a person walking by the
Walking by,
house,
yes.
or walking into the alley, or
Right.
whatever it may be. And they would ask for copies of this stuff.
What about those lights, those automatic lights that go on when someone is working?
All right, I can't say, Morris, I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's
can't-
okay.
that again.
I'm sorry, excuse me. I can't say that enough about lights. I mean, the more lights you have in your house, all around your house,
Right.
you want lights, because anybody that's going to try to do something wrong, they don't want to be seen. So if a light goes off automatic, fantastic. Those sensor lights, the best thing ever happened.
Motion detectors.
Motion detectors, thank you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't stress that enough, and we talk about it throughout our meetings. Just basic stuff like that, the shrubs being low so no one can hide behind them. I mean, just, we talk about that during our classes, which we can't emphasize enough. Motion sensor lights are the best. Alarms, obviously, if you can afford it. Keeping your doors locked. But the main thing is having your neighbors watch out for each other. This is what this is all about. This is what we look for. Nothing better than someone watching out for someone else. The more people that get involved with this, the better the city's going to become.
Right.
And one thing, I know you're going to ask, but one
No,
thing
no, I was gonna
relating to this, people, usually sometimes from the back of the house, they'll see someone breaking in, one of your neighbors in back.
Oh, I see.
And they'll say to you, well, what number Campbell Ave is it? Well, I don't know. It's behind my house.
Right.
So we were asking people to put the number of their house on the back porch.
That's a good idea.
So they can see it.
Absolutely.
And so they can see it, and when they call the police, they say, oh, it's 72 whatever street.
Right. I want to say to you, Jerry, which I should have said at the beginning of the show,
Sure.
so forgive me. You do a terrific job, and you hear about people criticizing police like in Ferguson and other cities. If it wasn't for you people, those people that criticize you wouldn't be protected themselves. So I want to say thank you for what you veterans do for
I'd
us.
like to thank you too. That's what we're here. We're here to so we're here to protect and serve. That's what we take the job for. Like I says, people are going to criticize, but we can't. If we go there, we move forward. We try to build a trust with the community. We work hard as we can every day. Like I says, with the elected officials, the administrations throughout the city, we try to be proactive as best we can. We just move every day, just go forward. We can't be,
One other thing I want to say is we have a new mayor here, Mayor Arrigo. Thank you. I hope he does as great a job for the Crime Watch as the former mayor did, because he was always there helping the people in the Crime Watch community, and I'm sure Mayor Arrigo will do the same, Jerry, so I'm sure you can count on him and his people.
we're hoping for it. I mean, he's a young guy,
Yeah.
young family, just had a little child.
Yeah,
I'm
congratulations.
Sure, congratulations to him and his wife on that. We're hoping that what we built on the last few years, that he'll move forward with us, and it's a very positive stuff for the city. Actually, like I said, we have the Coffee to Cop we started.
Yeah.
This has been last few years, very, very popular program. This program is, we actually had one at the Starbucks, McDonald's,
The
Bagel Bin. This gives an opportunity, Morris, for the public to come out. We advertise it, and they can come out and talk to us over a cup of coffee and tell us what their issues are, what they're having. It's a great conversation thing. We write down, we document everything down when people come in, and that really helps. The Citizen Academy, that's been unbelievable.
Where can I buy a cup like that?
Actually, this is for you.
Oh, that's for me?
That's for you.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You were set up, Morris.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's for you for having us. But the Citizen Academy is really great. You got to see the people's
It's
looks.
empty.
It's empty. I know. Well, we're going to take care of that after. But
Thank you.
the people, when they come in there from day one, and then when they graduate, they come in once a week for 3 hours a week. And let me tell you, the experience they gain from that is second to none.
Yeah. I actually went through that course.
I-
I went through the second course they ever had, and that was about 8 years ago.
And
It was unbelievable.
How many
8
weeks is the course?
8 weeks.
8 weeks and 3 hours?
3 hours,
Oh.
and every week they come in with a different scenario.
Instruct
They'll
them.
bring in sniffing dogs. They'll talk about traffic accident reconstruction.
Yes.
They'll talk about murder incidents. They'll talk about breaking and entering. And they'll have the state police. They'll have the Suffolk County police. They'll have the MBTA police. And it's amazing.
I hate to
I
interrupt
know.
you, gentlemen. We got
We're
about
running
3
out of
minutes
time.
left. Jerry, take a minute and a half, and you too, Ira.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up all the time here, but I want to thank you, Morris, for having us.
It's been an honor and a pleasure to not only to me, but to the people of Revere.
And I'd like to thank Ira Novoselsky here. Like I said, we work with our elected officials here, and Ira is, what he does for that area, for Ward 2, and for all the citizens of the city is just unbelievable. I really like to thank you, Ira, for what he's always there for us, and he knows when he comes to us for a problem. That's what what we do, Morris, is we try to work to solve problems. My office, what I work with, we do quality of life issues. And we want to keep it forward. We're hoping that it goes forward.
Jerry, before I give Ira
Yes.
1 minute, I just want to say one thing, Ira, and he knows about it, and you know it. We have a senior citizen, and we talked about that, so I'll be quick. Salvatore Santoro,
Yeah,
going to be
February
102
4th.
years old. February
about
the
it.
4th,
Yeah, we're going to be
we're
there.
going to honor him at the Revere Revere Senior Center, February the 4th, folks, and we'd like to see the whole city show up because he's 102 years old, and I think you know him very well. So you can take the next minute, Ira.
Thank you, Morris. And it is a pleasure of you allowing us, Jerry and myself, to come in and
It's
talk
an
about
honor
this.
for me and the
it's a
people of
very,
Revere.
very important important issue. And I want to thank you for allowing us to come in and bring this forward to the people of Shirley Ave, Ward 2 in general, the rest of the city of what they're going to be going through.
Yes.
Now, I would like Bob, if he could, give us a wide shot to the front of the table. Thank you. If everybody notices on the front of the table, you see some signs, Business Watch and Neighborhood Watch. Now, Jerry has been so instrumental. He's been helping everybody put these signs up in the business districts around the city. We put them on Shirley Ave. The Neighborhood Watch sign is in several locations. We have a few more to be put up.
Yes, we have them
And
available. Yep.
when these neighborhood crime watchers get together, these signs will be available for their houses, for their neighborhoods, their street to be put on.
Yes,
And-
On the
and it's
poles,
very-
they should be
yes,
put on the
Exactly,
poles.
And
that's where it goes.
Councilor Novoselsky said, these are areas that show the people that there's a program in force work, and again, these came through a grant. These signs all through a grant that the police received, so they didn't cost the city nothing.
Right.
As
Right.
far as money-wise.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
a
you
great,
for-
great program, and I thank you again,
Right.
Morris.
Thank you for coming out. But Jerry, before I close, I just want to say one thing. We're going to have the senior news probably the 3rd week in February. We'd like you to come on, if you can make it, to speak to the seniors about scams.
Absolutely.
We would love to have
call.
someone tell us about them.
Yeah, I love, like I said, as you see in the middle here, I'm showing there's a lot of stuff. This is all business stuff we do for the businesses. This is for the crime watch. This all here is for seniors. As you can see, there's magnets and there's all kind of protection
Right.
stuff here. And the other stuff is for the children that we do for the city, including our bike registration. And we could talk about that at another time, no
Right.
problem.
Good. So I want to thank you both. God bless you,
Thank
Jerry,
you.
and take good care of you. You too, Ira.
Thanks, Morris.
God bless the people of Revere, but most of all, God bless our troops and our great country, the United States of America. And thank you for letting me live here, because this is the freest of all the countries in the world. Thank you, America.